Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, a money rescue for extreme spenders.
I get a high from buying.
How much do y'all have in savings?
Would you call my checking account my savings?
Let's see where the money's gone.
That's a blade to go to the table saw that I never opened.
But you got to take it out of the package.
You would think he was a handyman. He doesn't even put a nail in the wall.
Plus, find out how to determine what your financial IQ is.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
Some say it's a hard life, but it's hard for us all. Always hold on.
10,
Always be strong. Reach out.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Stand by, camera 6. Go, Dr. Phil.
Thank you. All right, well, today it is attention shoppers. Now, how do you know if you're a savvy shopper or if it's got a hold on you? I'm talking about overspending, overcharging. Well, get ready, because you're going to take a quiz to find out if you are a financial train wreck. You may not need a quiz to know this. Today, we're continuing with our money series and focusing in on the problem of extreme spending. Now, here's a fact for you. Total consumer credit debt now exceeds $880 billion. Now, Tatani is in my audience, and so I want to have a talk with her. Everybody sit down, except you. Now, Tatani, you are a shopper, right?
I am.
And do you shop with credit cards?
I do.
Okay, and you say you've got about $25,000 in credit card debt.
Probably so, yes.
Now, did you buy something for the show?
I bought some shoes,
So what did those babies set you back?
$200.
Uh-huh. Yeah, did you buy anything else?
Well, I bought this dress.
Is that a Gucci bag?
Yes.
May I see that?
Okay.
Did you buy that for the show, or did you already have
I
that?
already had it.
Okay, what'd that set you back?
About $1,700. But I wear it every day, and I'm just trying to keep the economy going.
$1,700 you
But I
spent
can
for that.
carry it every day, so it gets a
Okay.
lot of use.
So if you carry it every day for 6 months, it's costing you $10 a day.
Which is nothing.
How much you got in it?
Actually, I don't have any cash on me.
So it's costing you $10 a day to buy it, to own it, but you don't have any money in it.
I have a credit card in it.
Did you buy it on credit?
Yes,
And you bought this on credit?
on my debit card. So that was cash.
And you bought the shoes with a credit card?
Yes.
Okay. Let me show you something that I think people don't understand. Here's a pair of shoes.
Okay.
Just hold on to those, and maybe you can even keep them if they fit you. But the price tag is $100.
Okay.
Now, do you know what these cost if you buy them on a credit card?
No.
If you buy these on a credit card and you just pay them out over the cycle of the card, which would be like 36 or 40 months by making your minimum payments,
Okay.
and all of that, at an 18% interest, here's what this pair of tennis shoes cost you.
Wow.
Read that for me.
$512.
$512 for this pair of shoes.
Okay.
So what do you suppose that Gucci purse? Oh my gosh, that's almost $10,000.
Right.
$8,000 you've got into that purse down there.
Wow.
Does that surprise you?
Yes, it does. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah?
No.
Well, you're going to think of a whole lot more things before this day is over. Okay. Now, guys, when you're buying things on credit, this is a myth. This is not what you pay. Now, how many of you bring credit cards when you go shopping? Raise them high, fess up. All right, Heidi admits she has a compulsive spending addiction. She says she gets a high from shopping and has even skipped paying the gas bill to buy herself a new Coach bag. Did you hear what I just said? Skips paying the utilities to buy a new Coach bag. And despite not one, but 2 bankruptcies on her record, she still spends her paycheck till it is all gone.
My spending habits consist of spending money on clothes, purses, anything name brand that I want. This is closet number 1. I just bought this because of the good deal. I didn't want to pass up a great deal. I do have plenty of garments with tags on them. I bought 6 new swimsuits and I haven't even worn 3 of them. I also have 3 pairs of shoes that are still in the box. Here's a pair of Coach shoes I probably bought last year and I haven't even put them on. Here's another pair that I bought last week. I know I don't need them because I have so many of them already. I'll take it to closet number 2. My first closet is way too full. I have 10 Coach purses, 9 pairs of Coach shoes, 4 pairs of sunglasses, 4 wallets. I am extremely materialistic. I definitely neglected the house bills and buy frivolous stuff that I didn't need. I would love to buy it. Maybe next week I'll look at it. When I shop, I want more and more and more and more.
Well, you think her husband might be a little upset about this, right? He's even worse.
It's obsessive. When I go shopping, I've decided that I need something for the family. I will go from store to store to store. Sometimes can't even sleep at night because it's stuck in my head that I need to find this thing. When I see something that I want, if I don't have the money now, I'll do everything I can to get that product as soon as possible. I am into electronics. This is my 65-inch television, flat screen, Blu-ray, DVD player, speakers, Xbox, Nintendo system. This is my DVD collection. I think I have about 600 DVDs. Most of these are not open. This is my stereo system I had installed. 4-channel amplifier and new speakers all the way around. This is my garage. I get a high from buying tools. I needed to buy a table saw. It's been sitting in the garage for 2 years in the box and I've never opened it. Both of us are addicted to shopping. It's killing us.
Now, Steve actually lost his job 30 days ago, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, now you got a severance package out of this, right?
Correct.
Let's see how he actually spent at least part of that severance package.
When I got my severance package, I decided to go out and spend $5,000 on a used motorhome. I spent approximately $1,000 in repairs, $2,000 on accessories, and $1,000 on video equipment.
I was upset about the motorhome because we could have had 2 months of, our bills paid.
Okay, now what do you think about that?
At the time, it was something I wanted to do, and now that I'm looking at things, it was a really stupid thing to do.
Okay, why is it stupid? Why, as you look back on it, why is it stupid to do that?
Because that's money that I could have used for a lot of different things, and I ended up using it for something that I thought the family could use for camping, and it was something that we really didn't need.
Yeah, you thought it was something family could use for camping, and so now you have an RV parked by the house.
Yeah, exactly, and
Okay.
it's a big eyesore.
And how many nights have y'all been camping?
7.
7 nights?
7 good nights.
7 good nights. How much you think you'll use it over the next year?
We won't. Not till next summer.
So it'll sit there, you'll just pay for it for all these months, and then, but here's the good news. If you keep doing what you're doing, you're probably going to spend more time in it than you might think.
Oh. We might have to live in it.
Yeah.
Sad to say.
Yeah, exactly. So you two are kind of in a race to see who can make the most bad decisions financially, right?
Unfortunately, yes, it's been that way since we've been together, and that's been 8 years.
Okay, how about you? Did you buy anything new for the show?
I did.
You did? What'd you buy?
I bought a new pair of shoes.
A new pair of shoes.
They're cute.
Okay.
A new shirt.
A new shirt? Is this it? Mm-hmm. Okay.
New pants.
New pants?
New earrings.
New earrings. Okay. So you bought a whole new outfit. So what do you figure the cost was, just roughly speaking?
Well, I am a bargain shopper, so 50, 80, 90, 100, 120, maybe 160.
Okay, so you spent $160 on a new outfit to come on a show to talk about your irresponsible spending.
It's so ridiculous.
I'm just checking. I'm
but
just
I
curious.
want to look nice for the show, otherwise I'm not going to have a good experience.
Yeah, and then that's what you need is a good experience.
I need a good experience when I sit and talk to you. If I came looking like a ragamuffin, you wouldn't be happy.
Okay, isn't it true, and it's important that I be happy,
I want to present myself in a manner that looks nice. All the other clothes I had, I could have worn, but they were used. And I wanted to look nice, so I bought something new.
They were used.
But Steve also bought a new
I hadn't
suit.
seen them.
But
They were new to me.
Mine was cheap.
They were new to millions of your new best friends.
But mine was cheap. His was $300
Okay,
suit.
I'm going to get to him in a minute. We
Okay.
just talked about him buying a tenement on wheels and parking it out there for the neighbors to complain about. But what I'm asking you is you spent this money to come here about a show that, look over your left shoulder. What's that say? Read that for me.
It says Money Rescue Extreme Spending.
Okay, and you spent $160. Isn't it true that about a quarter of the clothes in your closet still have the tags hanging on them? Tell the truth.
No, correct.
Okay, so this argument that you just gave me a few minutes ago that everything I had was used.
Well, not everything, but I didn't have this color of shirt.
And you bought a new suit?
Yes, I did.
Looks nice.
Thank you.
What did set you back?
About $400.
Okay, shirt and tie. I mean, is that old?
Yeah, I already had that.
I had those. So we have savings on the shirt and tie department. So y'all spent $500 to come in here and talk to me about irresponsible spending. You've purchased a whole lot of things that you don't really even use. In fact, I have a table that represents some of the things that y'all have purchased so we can get a sense of this. Okay, so we actually got this stuff from y'all. Okay, so you bought the glue gun to put up Christmas lights?
Correct.
Did you put them up?
No, I didn't.
Okay, listen, I'm not a real handy guy around the house, but you got to take it out of the package for anything to stick. Okay, we have these shoes here. We have, what in the world is this?
It's a cell phone case.
It's a cell phone case, and it's still got the tag on it. Isn't that kind of embarrassing to pull this out with the tag still on it to get your cell phone?
Well, my husband bought it for me, and I just didn't like it, but I didn't have the heart to tell him.
Okay, you didn't have the heart
So
to
I
tell
kept
him.
it.
Okay, I see some tools. I see some tools down here, a 360-degree laser kit and laser level. Have you used that a lot?
No, I haven't.
How much have you used it?
I haven't taken it out of the box.
How long you had it?
Probably 2 years.
Okay, so you've had this for 2 years and never took it out of the box.
Yes, correct.
And how about this auto vacuum? It doesn't look like it's been out of the box either.
No, it's...
We have a 10-inch by 80-tooth fine finish circle saw.
Yeah, that's a blade to go to the table saw that I never opened.
So you have a table saw,
Right.
and it's still in the box.
still in the box.
But because it was in the box, you did go buy a blade for it.
Yes, because if I ever take it out of the box, I'll need a blade for it.
You would think he was a handyman. He doesn't even put a nail in the wall. So it's beyond me why we need all these tools.
It's just beyond you. You just can't figure it out.
No, I can't actually.
How could anybody be so irresponsible?
I know.
How could anybody possibly waste money on things? All right, I'm going to come back in a minute, and we're going to talk about some tough questions on a money quiz that I want you to take at home. Now, be honest. I mean, I can't come to your house, as far as you know, and look at what you're writing down. So grab a pencil and paper. It's going to tell you where you're headed with your shopping when we come back.
We feel that we try to be the all-American family, and we don't want people to know our actual financial problems. We have the nice cars, we live in a nice upscale neighborhood. Our son has every toy imaginable. We are definitely stressed out because we know we can't afford much of the stuff that we have, and that definitely scares us.
Now, we're continuing our money series today because your finances probably need rescuing. Look, it's tough times right now. We're seeing banks go under, insurance company go under, the stock market is in a free fall, the dollar's in a free fall, and probably for a lot of us, we don't really know what that means, but it means that we can wind up having a tough economy, means jobs become unstable, means interest rates can get out of control, and it can just be a huge problem for us, even though we don't understand all the intricacies of it. Now, more than a third of adults admit they spend more than they can afford, and by one estimate, 70% of Americans are living not just paycheck to paycheck, but in the negative. They're spending more than they make. That means nobody's saving squat. no money is going into bank accounts. How much do y'all have in savings?
Would you call my checking account my savings?
No, I wouldn't.
Well, because
I
that's where
wouldn't
I
call
save
your
my
checking
money in
account
my checking
savings.
account.
So if you have a job
I do have a job.
and you work,
I do.
If you lose your job and you're out of work, how much do y'all have to fall back on? 6 months of income and expenses?
No, 2,500.
2,500
For
bucks.
me.
Okay, and that's in a retirement account?
No, it's in my checking account
Okay, it's in your checking account today,
today.
but all your bills aren't paid.
No, they're paid.
And you've been in bankruptcy how many times?
Well, let's define bankruptcy. The first one, I did Chapter 7, and I'm in Chapter 13 right now, which that means I pay back all the debt.
Okay, well, let's define bankruptcy. You're bankrupt.
Correct.
You couldn't pay your bills, so you went to the court for federal protection from creditors because you couldn't pay them. That's bankruptcy.
Correct.
You can put a 7, 11, or a 13 in front of it. You can call it anything you want, but you went to the court and said, I need protection from the court because I have spent money I can no longer pay.
I agree.
And you've done that how many times?
Twice.
And you?
Twice.
Twice. So 4 between you because you did it individually. Is that what
Before
you
we
told
were
me?
together.
Yes.
Okay. So was there nothing clicked in your head that said, wow, I must be doing something really wrong because I'm having to go to the federal court for protection?
But it's the high that I get from shopping that I don't get from the bankruptcy. That's the problem. The problem is when I go to the mall and I shop, I get a high from buying.
So the high you get from shopping is higher than the low you get from bankruptcy.
Correct.
Well, look, I've got a money quiz for Heidi and Steve and for all of you watching too. So I hope you have a pen and paper handy. Or you can log on to drphil.com. I've got the quiz up there for you to take online. And it looks like this. Now, okay, Heidi and Steve, answer true or false to the following statements. I will neglect bills to make an impulse luxury buy.
True.
True.
So you answer yes to that. I will make a purchase based on perceived need, desire, or what I feel I deserve instead of what I can afford.
True.
Yes, true.
You'll make a purchase based because you just feel like you deserve it. I'm just looking at the audience.
I don't have any credit cards, so would I buy?
Well, you don't have it because you can't get them.
Correct.
If
That's
you
the
could get
difference.
them, if there was somebody stupid enough to issue you plastic, you would have a deck of them,
Oh,
wouldn't
I'm
you?
sure I would. Not that many.
Okay. All right. I buy items out of guilt for my children, whether or not I can afford them.
I do work a lot, so I don't spend a lot of time with my child. And I do, on my days off, I do go buy him something purely out of guilt. But I also do the good motherly things too and take him, ride a bike.
This is not an essay question. I buy items out of guilt for my children.
I'm very true on that.
Yeah, so both of you, that's a yes.
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 The question was explained in the question.
Sorry.
I buy name brand goods because of the emotional feeling.
Yes.
You like name brand things.
Right, and I also like the customer
like
service.
Coach bags and...
They give good customer service too when I go in there.
Oh, and that's important.
So yeah, that's important.
Yeah, because I've had purses break down on me.
When they're cheap
So
purses, they
often,
break.
I'm out there, my purse is broken down, I'm on the side of the road, I need customer service.
That'd be a tragedy.
That would be a tragedy. And you buy Craftsman tools?
Yes, so true.
Because you say that's the Coach of tools.
Yes, yes it is.
I buy things based on monthly payments instead of actual cost.
True.
True.
I lack a budget or plan based on my financial reality, and I lie to myself or my spouse about expenditures.
Very true.
True.
You lie to each other?
Yes.
When I'm stressed out, anxious, or celebrating, I spend money I don't have.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah, this is the scary part right now is once the severance money runs out, we're not going to have money to just sustain our normal lifestyle without any of the spending stuff, not to mention the spending stuff that's going on.
So if he doesn't find a job soon, we could become homeless, which scares me.
Well, you've got the RV.
That's just, I can't take my son to school in an RV. That's homeless to me.
Oh, yes, you can. And you may very well, very soon, if you continue doing what you're doing. For those of you at home, if you said yes to 5 or more of the questions I just asked, and if you didn't write them down, it's on drphil.com, then let me assure you, based on statistics, based on history, you are headed for serious financial trouble. Now, we haven't even factored in all the toy spending here yet. So when we come back, we're going to see the unopened boxes of toys Steve and Heidi's only child can't even get around to playing with. Be right back. Well, I'm continuing our series on money problems. Now, the question is, how can you survive the money crisis that we're clearly in if you have zero saved for this rainy day? Now, we're talking to Heidi and Steve about their extreme spending. Now, they both like to spend until their paychecks run out. They have no retirement savings, no house, and no college fund for their son, 7-year-old Andrew, who they say they fight to spoil and overindulge.
Our son Andrew is 7 years old. He's a very loving little boy, but he definitely is spoiled rotten. He rarely hears the word no.
Andrew has an Xbox 360, a Nintendo DS, computer, iPod, portable DVD player,
Remote control cars.
at least 15 to 20 Quicksilver t-shirts, name brand tennis shoes.
Well, I feel like I have one child, so he should look decent when he goes to school. I spend a lot of time at work, so when I'm off, I do like to spend money on him because I do feel guilty not seeing him a lot.
He probably has 10 boxes of Legos that are unbuilt up in his closet that we've bought them, we have every intention of building them, but then we never build them, and then we go out and we buy more.
When Steve will buy some, he'll tell Andrew, hey, don't tell your mom we got a new game today. And I told him, don't buy anything this weekend because I've already purchased enough for him during the week.
But it's not fair that you get to buy him everything and have all the fun.
Well, Heidi says their money problems have put a strain on their marriage. Take a look.
I feel deceived when Steve will buy something and then he'll hide it in the garage. And one box I've never even seen until I walked outside today. I didn't even know he had it.
Heidi will hide purchases from me. I've gone to her car before and find all these shopping bags. It almost makes me a little bit jealous because she's using money that I could use. And then I get mad and I say, well, I'm going to go out and buy myself something now.
I allowed Steve to handle the finances 8 years ago, and he deceived me and didn't pay the house bills. One day I came home and the lights weren't on and the TV didn't work. So that's when I became a money hoarder. I would cash my check and I would hide it in a coat pocket in my closet.
Heidi does neglect the bills that she's responsible for, and she goes out and spends money on things that she shouldn't be purchasing.
But you do the same thing, so why would you be better at that? Our spending habits, pretty much we don't talk about it. Only when we have no more extra money and I'm like, well, what did you do with all your money? And he'll ask me, well, what did you do with all your money? So that's when it becomes a problem. I definitely know our financial problems do put a strain on our marriage. It's really hard to be loving towards him because I'm angry.
Okay, here's my question for you, Steve. As you watch all of this on tape, I found that seeing yourself on camera is very sobering. What's your reaction to what you're seeing today?
Yeah, this whole experience is just really opening my eyes, and it's really hitting home that we have a serious problem that we need to solve.
You buy all of this stuff. What's it doing for you in the moment?
It makes me feel like I'm providing for the family, and it's not the right thing to feel, but that's what I feel.
And you understand, when you go spend money you don't have on things you don't need and have no ability to pay, that's no different than going in and shoplifting it. I mean, if you go into Home Depot or Lowe's or Sears or Target and you take a good or a service that you ultimately don't pay for, then somebody has to pay for it for you, and somebody doesn't get to keep their job because of the losses that they're writing off. I mean, that's not just institutional money that comes out of nowhere. Somebody has to pay for that. Does that occur to you?
No.
That when you're taking bankruptcy, you're failing to pay people that did transactions with you in good faith?
Right, I understand.
I mean, some people get into bankruptcy because they can't help it. But you just overspend, right? You just overspend.
Yep.
What if your currency shifted and you said, my definition of success is to be a responsible parent providing a stable environment for ourselves and our child?
I would love that. That's
I just need to get my brain to make that switch.
But that's a maturity thing. You know, part of maturing is recognizing that you don't always get what you want when you want it. For that 15 minutes of high, you have 4 years of payments. Or in your case, 2, and then you take bankruptcy, but the high is long gone when the payment's still there, right?
I was raised on getting what I wanted, and I was spoiled and indulged, not as much as my son, but I just have to know that I'm an adult now, I'm not a child, and I need to make better decisions.
You don't want him to wind up in the same situation, taking bankruptcy, having the heartache, the embarrassment of losing the things, having his car repossessed. You're not teaching him financial responsibility.
You're right.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I sent money expert Laurel Langmeyer to Heidi and Steve's to tally up their spending. I'm going to reveal what the grand total is in a minute. We're going to talk about what to do in this situation. Today we're continuing our money series. Steve and Heidi are extreme spenders. They admit that. So I sent money expert Laurel Langmeyer to Heidi and Steve's home to roll up her sleeves, do the math, because Heidi and Steve obviously aren't doing it or they wouldn't be doing what they're doing.
This is my office. The $2,500 for the computer. New monitor, $550.
So Steve, we're at about $33,000 for the office. That is shocking. You're sweating now. Tags, tags.
I wanted to have a nice outfit when I went to the Dr. Phil show. I bought these to wear on the Dr. Phil show because I didn't have any black shoes.
But the shoes on your feet are black. What percent of your paycheck gets spent on stuff?
I don't have an approximate percentage, maybe $600 per month.
Wow. 1 year you would have $7,200 in the bank.
Around 600 DVDs.
We're looking at like $8,200. How much do you think all of this totals?
$4,000.
What's your nickname at work?
Princess.
Princess?
Yes.
You kind of seem like that here in the house too.
This is my garage.
We're clicking into thousands and thousands again here. Well over $1,000 in Legos.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would say closer to 2,000 or 3,000.
What percent of the money that you bring home do you think you spend?
Probably half of it.
Do we have any college savings for him yet?
No.
The jacuzzi, how much? You know me.
5,000.
So monthly, you're missing bills and there's no retirement.
A wine refrigerator was actually $1,000.
How much wine do you guys really drink?
I don't usually drink.
How much was the Escalade?
About 35,000.
Do you have any spending rules?
I live for the day, not for tomorrow.
Yeah, when my bank account gets to zero, I can't spend anymore.
No college fund, no retirement. You're 43. We've got catch up to do.
Well, Laurel added up all of Heidi and Steve's extreme spending, and the grand total was what?
$122,320 plus, plus, plus. I mean, Dr. Phil, the house doesn't have an inch to walk in. It's packed with stuff.
Now, what would you think if you could snap your fingers, which you can't because you got to live with your choices, but if you could snap your fingers, that stuff went away and somebody handed you a check for $122,230 right now? That'd feel pretty good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I do the happy dance. That'd
Yeah,
be
you
awesome.
could buy a house. I mean, you could, there'd be a lot of things you could do, which would be a gift to your son and a gift to each other. Well, after walking through the house with Laurel, Heidi reached her breaking point, and finally, maybe in a good way, her emotions got the best of her.
I'm just not willing to sell all my crap. That's not something I can do. I cannot buy anymore.
But that's the past. But are you willing to not do that in the future?
I am scared that I might fail.
I like to buy things for Heidi, like bigger than just making sure that she knows that I still care for her just as much if I don't buy the big gifts.
I guess I'm a little bit embarrassed that I'm just not happy with just a simple card. I want more and more and more all the time.
We'll get through this. Okay? We'll get a plan.
Okay, Laurel, how much should a couple like this have saved by this age?
Well, Heidi's 33, and you assume Steve is 43. So if they started at 20 and had, say, a 10%, he should have 350, she should have about 150 put away in a retirement account, not a checking account, but in a retirement investment account.
So by 10%, they could have accumulated $500,000 by now.
Absolutely. Easily, and that's only 10% of their income.
What's your reaction? You seem shocked when I said that.
That's just, that kind of money would just solve so many problems that we have.
You guys would have a $500,000 nest egg that you could be sitting on right now, the interest from which would be significant, substantial. Without ever touching that, you would have interest that would be at least a couple $1,000s a month, that somebody would just be handing you passive income every month.
Yeah, it's just overwhelming.
And one of the things you say couples should do, Laurel, is pre-spend every dollar. Talk about that.
You pre-spend every week. So the money that is coming in, and so you list all the categories from your rent to the utilities to the food, you list everything, and you're going to pre-spend to come up with the amount that's left over. And for them, we're going to put all that money away. We've got to create a catch-up plan. So when you pre-spend it, then they have to agree, how are we going to spend money? This is how much you're going to make, how you're going to spend it in advance. So there's no emotion. What it does, Dr. Phil, is it cuts out all that emotional spending.
Well, and you understand the idea is to sit down and say, okay, net, after taxes and everything, you have to sit down and say, okay, we're going to pre-spend all of these and say we're going to put 100 here, we're going to put 200 here, we're going to put 300 here. You pre-spend it and you see, whoa, you know, we're $300 or $3,000 short, whatever it is. So we certainly aren't going to go buy a purse or an RV or a circle saw or a glue gun because we don't have enough. And the problem that I've got with this whole thing is the person that's picking up the tab on all of this is your son. He's the one that is going to ultimately pay for this because you're going to hit a wall. And he's the one that's going to have to move to a little apartment. He's the one that's going to have to wear old clothes. He's the one that's going to have to do all the sacrifices because you decided you wanted to get a high at the mall or a high at the tool store. So you have a choice. You say, okay, I'm either going to do what makes me feel good or I'm going to do what's best for him. And he's been losing every single time. What do you think about that?
Makes me sad. I don't want my son to lose. When you're sucked into this feeling, you're not thinking rationally, you're not thinking about all the other alternatives. I never thought about it the way you're just describing it right now. That's the problem where I have.
Even if they started today, if they put $1,000 a month away, that's still not going to be enough if they want to keep this lifestyle. So if we bring Andrew into this conversation, to catch up, it's over $4,000 a month because they missed all that compounding power of money. $4,000, in fact, there's over $4,200 a month that they've got to put away to catch up.
But you've got to be willing to make those sacrifices to get back where you want to go. I mean, all of these things that you have, this is an eBay dream.
Garage sale.
I wouldn't want this stuff in my house. I mean, if I had something I couldn't afford, I would want to get rid of it so I didn't have to look at it every day to remind me of the stupidity of the acquisition. I would convert that into money and put it into savings. What do you think?
Yeah, that's been rattling around in my head for a little bit. And I go into the garage now and I look at those tools that are sitting there. And it's like, why do I have these?
You don't use them. You haven't opened most of them. You can turn that into cash that you can put into an interest-bearing account.
A lot of this stuff with tags they can take back.
You can return and get the money back. You going to help them with this?
We're going to demand it happens unless they want to live like this.
All right, next, what happened to a couple who were about $1 million in debt last time they were on this stage? We're going to find out what Laurel's been making them do since they were here. We'll be right back. You were broke before you were broke. Didn't you feel it closing around you?
I just thought I could run faster and harder.
Yeah, you can run, but you'll just die tired. We're continuing our Money Rescue series, and we're working with Brandy and Greg on their money problems and challenges. Now, when they were last here, Laurel and I talked about their $1 million debt, Greg's job, and their house, which was perilously close to foreclosure. Well, let's see what Laurel's been doing with Greg and Brandy since they were last here. Now, the mortgage business is still underwater, and Greg is doing his best to make his way in that industry.
After appearing on the Dr. Phil show, Greg and I were on a high.
The day after the show, I had come home and I called our mortgage company. They had told me, your property's been sold back to the bank. That was kind of a shocker. We were really devastated.
I was just crushed, scared. We have a little less than 40 days before the sheriffs will be escorting us out.
Laurel and her team have really helped us out. I have gotten 3 loans this month, and I'm shooting for 5 next month.
I have opened up an eBay store. In the past 5 days, I made $238, and starting next week, I'll be putting in 20 hours a week being a virtual assistant. Communication between Greg and I since the show is still tough.
The hardest part would be trying to find the time to work together and come up with a definite plan.
In our marriage, there's no time for the two of us. It's neglected all the time. You're just surviving.
All right, next we're going to talk to Greg and Brandy about their biggest obstacle and what's really holding this couple back. Laurel Langmeyer, our money expert, has been working closely with Greg and Brandy since they left the show. Now, King, what's happening to the partnership financially?
And what we've agreed is that Greg's going to get a second job in addition to the mortgage, and Brandy's taken the virtual assistant job in addition to eBay. And the biggest critical piece right now, Dr. Phil, is we've got to have thousands of dollars to move, and we have no pennies to work with.
Can you, in your current income generation mode, afford that house?
No.
So this house, which is brick and mortar, it's sticks and shingles, you can't afford that. And part of the reality, part of the freedom that comes from reality is saying, we cannot afford it. We admit that. Sorry that we can't, but we're going to go somewhere that we can afford. Doesn't that have the potential of a good feeling?
Yeah, I think it's just hard because we have a 13-year-old son, and he knows that that foreclosure sign is going to be on our yard in a few months, and that's hard.
That is hard.
My son is going to be embarrassed. He's fearful of that sign. Okay? What do you say? You're supposed to be an example.
I'll tell you what you do. You sit down with him and you say, financially, there are difficult times, but we're going to deal with this. I am going to lead this family. I'm going to guide this family. We are going to make some sacrifices now, but we are going to be okay. So you focus on being a kid. Let me focus on what we have to do as parents. That's what you do. And I'm going to promise you, children are very resilient. And they would a whole lot rather be in a small home or apartment with a loving and close-knit mom and dad and family than they would be in a big rambling house with hostility, pressure, stress, fear, all of those things. Trust me. So we're going to continue working along with this. Find out how to determine what your financial IQ is when we come back. Okay, the question is, how smart are you when it comes to your money? And this time we're testing your financial IQ, or FIQ. So go to drphil.com and ask yourself these questions. It's like anything else. Early detection and early intervention is the key. You may be broke right now. You may be headed down and you're just in denial. So these questions are going to help you determine that. Number one is pretty obvious. Are you living on borrowed money or credit cards to cover living expenses and you fail to pay off balances at the end of the month? If that's true, you're going in a hole. You're going in a hole, and it's just a matter of when you hit the wall, not if. Number two, are you a double income family, mom and dad both work, and you require both? incomes to maintain your lifestyle. You can't absorb all of your income and expect to be okay. Incomes are not stable. They go up and down. Now, I've got several of these questions. They're all on drphil.com, so go there to take the rest of the quiz. What I'm trying to do is get you out of denial, dealing with reality, because we're going to be talking all season long about things you can do to make things better. We are looking for families that are trying to dig out of debt. If creditors bombard your house with calls, if you're feeling choked with credit card bills, then the website is the place for you to go and tell me about it. You've been working with Tony Bashira, who I mentioned before. That's going well, right?
It's going great.
Yeah,
He's the guy. He pumps me up every time I talk to him.
Tony has written a book called The Job Search Solution. Laurel, thanks so much for your help. Thanks for being here. We'll see you soon.